Okay, so we're going to be looking at a program called Codap where you can put in a whole bunch of information about a certain topic and it'll graph each point out for you where you can examine each object that you've put and all the different values of that object. So we're going to be looking at different ways we can compare this data. So first off, we're going to look at, so we got a group over here called the age group of older, recent, and newest roller coasters. So that's our object, is U.S. roller coasters over the years. So we got older, new, and recent. So we can drag age group and create our x-axis for age group. And if we see we got that's all of our points. So we need something to compare age groups with. So we got our older, recent, newest, and let's compare top speed and how it's changed over the course of the years. So if we look here, we have our speed and then our three categories. So if we look, we got the older roller coaster, the top speed was 65. So, which is, it's not slow, but it can, obviously over the progression of years, we have mostly made many progressions of making roller coasters much faster. So if we look here, so we got 65, we go to more the recent ones, we have a top speed of 100. So just from one category to the next, we already got we got a 35 speed increase. And then if we look, we have a whole bunch of points here of 65, which is the highest of older. So it looks like we've made a bunch of progress from older roller coasters up to our, not newest, but our recent. That wasn't made too long ago. So we're going to our third category, which are our newest. So if we look at, here's our top speed, so that's the slowest here, and see the fastest here, and then we got the fastest of 100 here. So we've made only one that's been faster over in the newest, which 100 miles per hour is fast. So how much faster could we get without it being too dangerous? So we go up 20 speed. So 120 is our top speed of all categories. So if we look here, we have a couple in the 90s. Then we have a good bit in the 80s. 70s is a good chunk. And we have some down here, which is the slower ones, which we can probably assume that'd be kids roller coasters, because you can't leave the kids out. So that's one way we can compare data. We can compare all kinds of different things. To remove this, all you have to do is click on it, and then remove your Y. So we still got our age groups. So now we can look at the type of material. Let's see, right here. So we'll drag it over here. Same concept, except now we got our y-axis broke up into two categories, and then we still got our x of the age group, which is our three, older, recent, newest, and then our type of material, wood and steel. So if we look, there was very, very few steel roller coasters made back with our older roller coasters back in the 90s, and then we have more wooden, but still not a whole lot of roller coasters. So back in the 90s, we didn't make it too many roller coasters. So if you could find a roller coaster, I guess you had to go good little ways to find this roller coaster. So we go to the recent. This is where we start seeing a massive increase in roller coaster production. So if we look at steel, we have probably three and a half times steel back in the older roller coasters, and if we look down here, wood, it looks like we made more roller coasters, so it is more here, but you can tell just by how many we've made in this recent category that there was not that many wooden ones made. We stuck to steel because we knew we could make more sturdy roller coasters and much quicker to provide more interest for people to come in. So if we go to our newest, we have the lowest amount recently of wooden roller coasters, which only 6, which is less than wooden in the older, in the 90s or so. And then steel, we have a lot more steel than wood, but we still hadn't made quite as much as recent, which there's way more categories here than there is here. So we're still in the production of new roller coasters. So this will grow, but this is probably 4 times of steel than there is wooden. So from the older periods to the recent, we just jumped massively from steel production, and then steel. This is a really good. We made a lot more steel than wooden, so it looks like we're moving on the path of making more steel roller coasters, because I mean that sparks the public interest more so than a slow wooden that may not be near as safe as a steel. So let's just close our categories. And so we're back at our data with all this we got plotted. Okay, so now we can compare some more data. So let's look at year that it opened. We'll just drag it over here on our X. It doesn't really matter which way you drag it. It depends on how you like looking at it. And then let's go back to top speed, because that's what most people enjoy anyways, the top speed of a roller coaster. So if we look here, so we can look at any kind of year. So let's look at the year of 1980 and before so. So if we look, our top speeds are not fast at all. Before the 80s, it looks like our highest is 65. So and then if we look after the 80s, just look at all these dots up here past 65. I mean, we got some down here, but like I said earlier, it could be kid roller coasters or so forth. But look at all these plots right here in the 70s. We got some in the 80s, many in the 60s. So there's significantly more roller coasters faster than 65 miles per hour, which is the fastest before the 80s. So, and after you look at all this data, and let's say they made a new roller coaster and you wanted to add it into the data, you simply come down here, click there, and add all your data in. I've already added this in, so you can compare how 1 or 2 roller coasters impact your data, and let's see, just by the same technique. So you put in the top speed, the maximum height, the year, anything you want to. That data is automatically plotted in. You can come to it right here when you click on it, and it'll show you how it sizes up with the rest of the roller coasters.